so effectively. And it really hit me. And so I was like, I don't know what I believe. I have no idea, and I believe in my heart that what keeps people in church is knowing. Feelings are involved, but knowing keeps you there. And so I said, I got to know what I believe. Just so happened that right around that time, I was working on a patient. I was cleaning her teeth, and the patient heard me humming whatever was being played overhead, and she said, "Are you a believer?" And I said, "Well, I believe in some things. I don't know if I believe what you're asking me." And she says, "Do you know anything about Daniel or Revelation?" And to this little discovering, and she says, and I said, "Well, I know a little bit." And she says, "Can you come to my house on Tuesdays and teach me, my husband, my son, his wife, my mother?" And I was like, I was reminded of the promise that I made to God that I would never say no, even though in my life I'd never given a Bible study. And so I said, the worst that can come out of this is that I remember my dilemma is knowing. I have to know what I believe to stay. I said, maybe this is my opportunity to know. And so I went through that, and I grew. If you ever want to know what you believe, give a study, even if you don't know anything. It's your opportunity to prepare yourself to go teach, and that's how you learn. And then the one that really, the moment where I said, okay, this is where I want to be a Christian, was when GYC, a Christian young people's conference, did their first mission. I always wear this barong when I come to Hawaii. I don't know why, but I'm supposed to preach. I can't go. I got this infection. Could you do it? And this was a tough one because I've never preached an evangelistic series. So, like I said, when I was 18, I made this promise. I said, Lord, I'm going to do this. And so I went to a little church plant in Laguna, and I preached for 2 weeks, 60 people. And at the end of that 2 weeks, I made an appeal. Never done an appeal for baptism in my life. And 60 people came up. And I fell apart. I was so moved. I was like, who am I? Right? Who am I that these people would even... And so when we made that appeal, obviously out of 60, about 8 of them were actually ready for baptism. And so when we were in the pool, baptized congregation, I wanted to be in the water. And I had my barong on. This is what I have it on. And so after we baptized the last person, I realized that this is real, and this is now my faith, because everything I taught, I believe, I'm convicted on everything that I taught. Even while I was teaching it, I wasn't convicted. But it was just a moment where God said, now you know. And as the last person walked out, I told the pastor, I was like, Pastor, I think you need to baptize me. And he says, what have you done, my son? You know, like, why are you? No, I just think I was baptized at 11. I didn't know why I was in this. Now I know. And so he was baptized. I was baptized there in the Philippines in 2009, and it holds a very special place in my heart. But you got.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
Why did I, or when did I decide?
Why don't you just skip to why are you Seventh-day Adventist?
Okay. I'd say, other than the fact that I was raised a Seventh-day Adventist, so that kind of gave me a head start on being one, I'd say basically the real question behind the question is like, why does Seventh-day Adventism keep me there? Why? What does it appeal? What appeals to me? And what appeals to me is that the revelation of God's character in answering the questions of the great controversy. You know, where does life come from? Where does death come from? Is God the source of both? You know, is God truly good all the time? truly love all the time. And how does Jesus' death on the cross and what he went through in Gethsemane reveal answers to those questions? What happens to the wicked in the end? I think for me, Seventh-day is predisposed to be able to give answers to those questions that satisfies not only my mind but my heart.
Thank you so much. Avner, same question. Why are you still a Seventh-day Adventist?
So I think the reason that I'm still a Seventh-day Adventist is because I believe that first and foremost that the Sabbath is holy and that we should keep it. And I think everything that I've learned from studying the Bible aligns with the values of Seventh-day Adventism. And so if it had been a different name or a different church that aligned with all the things that I learned from the Bible, then I'd probably be there. But Seventh-day Adventism, I believe, has pretty special truths. And also, I really love the spirit of prophecy. And
I think when I read the scriptures for myself,